Hey, this is Rick Casalage, injury specialist from exercisesforinjuries.com. In today's video, what I wanted to go through are a few hip stretches specifically for men. Now, Alex is going to go through them. I'll highlight the details of the stretches, and Alex is going to move into the first exercise. There you go. It's the figure 4 hip stretch. And how this breaks down, so you're moving down to the mat or floor, you're lying on your back, relaxing the upper body, arms are to the side, you're going to, feet are flat, knees are bent, you're going to bring one foot over onto the opposite knee, then you're going to actively use your muscles in your hip to bring that knee out. Now that might be enough for you to feel that stretch in your hip. You can intensify it by bringing the hand on the same side and pushing it a little bit further, looking for a stretch deep in that hip. Now we're looking for a light stretch. We're not trying to rip apart the muscle. You're going to get more benefit from a light stretch than a strong stretch. You're going to go with one side for 20 seconds, and then you're going to switch over to the other side. Perfect. Now looking at the sets, reps, time, and intensity for this exercise, sets are 1, repetitions are 2, so alternating back and forth. Time, 20-second hold with a light stretch, and the intensity is light. We're focusing on a static stretch. Now the purpose of this exercise is to loosen up the hip. We're targeting the deep hip rotators, and a lot of times in men, those muscles tend to be tight due to excessively sitting or just inherently being tight in that area. So that's one of the exercise. Moving on to the next exercise. Perfect. So it's a Spider-Man stretch. So kind of breaking it down, going into the starting position. So you're almost like in a straight arm plank position, starting off with. Yeah, bring the legs behind you. Going into like a, yeah. So you can either start in a 4-point position or a plank. Let's go with the 4-point position, and then Alex is going to bring one foot up by her shoulder or hand. And there we go. Then we get into that Spider-Man stretch. She's going to lean forward to get more out of the stretch. Okay, good. And then relax, and we'll switch sides. So going in that 4-point position, going with the right side, bringing that knee in line with the shoulder, and then she can lean forward to get more of a stretch in that back hip, and then also in the front hip. Okay, when it relates to sets, reps, time, and intensity, for this one, sets are 1, repetitions would be 2 on each side, alternating back and forth. Time is 20-second hold, intensity is light, and the purpose of this exercise is we're really stretching out that hip. We're bringing, with the front leg, we're really going deep when it comes to flexion in the hip, to stretch out that hip muscle. And then when it relates to the back leg, we're really working on bringing that leg at the end range of motion when it relates to hip extension. So it's really working 2 different ways on each of the legs. So it ends up being an excellent exercise to do. So there you go, 2 of them down. Moving on to the third one. Okay, so the third one is the forward fold exercise. And then how this one works, going into the starting position, standing nice and upright, legs are underneath your hips. You're going to slightly bend in the knees, bend through the hips, upper body's in a straight line, head, shoulders, and hips. And then you're going to start rounding out throughout the whole spine, and then fold yourself forward, and really working on stretching out the hip area, stretching out the hamstrings, and then also stretching out throughout that whole spine area. You're going to hold that for a few seconds, come back out of it, and then relax, and then go into it again. So standing upright, slightly bending through the knees, bending through the hips, straight upper body, and then bending through that upper body, trying to bring the hands to the floor, and stretching out through the hips, stretching out through the hamstrings and the glutes, and then stretching out through that spine area. Perfect. Now looking at the sets, reps, time, and intensity for this one, sets would be 1. repetitions would be 5, so you want to build up to 5. It might be a lot for you. You can start off with 2, then 3, and then 5. The hold the bottom position for a couple seconds. Start off with 5 seconds, then you can progress on to 10 seconds. Intensity is light, and the purpose of this exercise is to kind of statically stretch muscles around the hip, but then also specifically the muscles in the hamstring and in that glute area. Okay, moving on to the fourth exercise, we go from standing back down to the mat. And it's a child's pose. So breaking this one down, we're onto the mat. We're going to move into a 4-point position. Again, so hands are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. Upper body's in a straight line, so shoulders, hips, head, shoulders, and hips are in a straight line. Then Alex is going to bring her hips back till the arms are out front. And then hips are resting on the heels, and then really relaxing through that mid-back, trying to drop the shoulders towards the floor and really working on loosening things up here, loosening things in the shoulder, but more specifically really loosening things in the hip and really getting into that deep hip flexion so we can work on a range that most people, most guys have lost. Perfect. Now looking at the sets, reps, time, and intensity for this one, the sets would be 1, repetitions would be 2, time would be 20 seconds, intensity would be light, and I've kind of talked about the purpose of this exercise, really working on that deep flexion movement, so knees towards the shoulders, in order to regain that movement, loosen up the hips, and relieve any stress or strain that you have in the hips. Perfect, Alex. So if you're a guy, give these 4 hip stretches a go. They'll help drastically with your life and loosening up your hips. Now, if you're suffering from hip pain or tightness and want some of my best tips and tricks when it relates to that, then what I recommend you do is click right here. I have a brand new free report called 5 Tips and Tricks that fight hip pain and tightness. Just click right here. Let me know where to send you that report, and I'll send you that report right away. If you're watching this on a mobile device, tablet, or smartphone, head down below in the description and click the first link, which will be exercisesforinjuries.com/hips. Let me know where to send that report, and I'll send you that report right away. Now, if you got benefit from this video, make sure to like this video. If you have a question or comment for me, leave it down below in the comment section. And lastly, hit subscribe to get future pain relieving videos.